Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, Big Black Lights, we take a look at this. Pretty rare to see a box anymore. And what we have here is the Tabasco Habanero up until the scorpion pepper sauce. This was the hottest in the lineup. Obviously the scorpion pepper sauce from Tabasco is quite a lot hotter than this one is. And this used to be, all the packaging used to come like this. But I haven't seen this in quite some time. I don't know when they discontinued it, but when I ran across this, and I got this, I reviewed this a really long time ago. So today I'm posting this on National Hot Sauce Day for a couple reasons. One of those is that Tabasco, I think, has been such a fixture in the chili head community and the hot sauce in general. One token. Secondly, habanero peppers, very ubiquitous, very low cost, so they get used a lot. That is generally the next pepper for the people who are on the chili head journey before they get into super hots. Some people never go past it. So kind of combining these two massive fixtures in the hot sauce and chili head world. And I don't do a good job a lot of the time. I forget that National Hot Sauce Day exists much of the time, unfortunately. But I did remember for this year, and it took me a bit to chase down one of these bottles. This is still produced, just that a lot of the stores in my area have elected not to continue keeping this around for whatever reason. And I wasn't, honestly, I can't say I really loved this particularly when I first had it. Let's take a look here at the ingredient list. We have vinegar, habanero, sugar, cane sugar, Tabasco pepper sauce. So they have the regular Tabasco pepper sauce, and apparently they've spiked it with other stuff. Habanero and cane sugar, salt, mango puree, dehydrated onion, banana puree, tomato paste, tamarind puree, papaya puree, spices, garlic, and Tabasco brand pepper mash. So I don't remember this having this many ingredients the last time I had this. So I don't know if this is going to be the same or not. But I know that this is... So the dehydrated onion, usually I would just not bother if I saw that. And if it's very forward in the mix here, then this might be a really short video. But I also know that the Tabasco sauces tend to be extremely watery. Generally, I don't know. This one it looks like it is also. It's hard to tell with the little 2 fluid ounce bottles like this. And I didn't know of anyone else doing cologne bottles quite like this other than Tabasco. I still don't think anyone does. And I'm sure they chose it in the name of expediency because, for the simple fact that cologne bottles almost always have a restrictor built in, as it is here. We've got some clotting here as well. That is really unusual for a Tabasco. Okay. Let's have a look here. You can see it's very, very, very runny. Very pungent smelling as well. when I first had it a while ago, I thought it was just strictly habanero and Tabasco. So with all the, I don't remember all this other stuff being in here. I don't know how much it's going to influence. So this could be kind of interesting. But we can see it definitely is a lot denser in terms of color. Looks like there's more stuff there. We've got the red-orange color, but it's not as thin as regular Tabasco is. This is slightly, ever so slightly thicker. And you can see too, well, on the edges is more where it gets towards what regular Tabasco is, where you can kind of see the white coming through. Whereas the rest of it is some of the more denser ingredients. So I'm really curious to see how, if at all, this has changed. Let's find out. I do remember the sauce being very bitter. It still is. You can get a sense of the habaneros here. There is a slight sweetness to it, which is a bit unusual for Tabascos generally. And of course, it's very, very, very vinegar forward, as is the case with pretty much every Tabasco sauce out there. Other than maybe the Chipotle. That one isn't super vinegar forward. I don't think I'm getting enough agitation to this. I'm just sitting here thinking of the flavor of last time. I didn't do this for a long time. I didn't do this particular one for a really long time. Mostly because I was doing other stuff, but also because I didn't remember it with any degree of fondness. So sometimes I'll do the written review. This written review for this is quite some time ago. Sometimes I will go back and bring it forward, as far as updates and stuff like that. It's always kind of an evolution, I think, to have that. Like in the context of a library, you'll see different revisions and additions, and that's kind of what I do sometimes with the older archive reviews. They're reflective of where I am at the time, I guess. More so than anything else, and where I am constantly is evolving. Even in terms of just like regular food, it's just kind of the way it goes a lot of times. I think generally with everyone probably. So I happen to have some wings left over from my last wing thing. And they are this. And I'm such a dummy. I got these. These were on sale. This TGI Fridays, the buffalo style chicken wings. Obviously, I tossed the buffalo sauce that came with it. And so I had the last wing thing for Q4 of 2025 was with, and this is, I saw people do this actually a lot years ago. Not with Tabasco Habanero, but just with regular Tabasco. Just throw it on as a wing sauce. Anyway, so the last one was breaded, and I didn't like that, so I'm not doing that again. But we're gonna flip these over here and get all the sides here. So yeah, if they weren't on clearance, I would never have gotten these. And had I realized that they were, this is way more pleasant than I remember last time. Had I known that they were breaded, I wouldn't have got them at all. So this, for me, it wasn't really the habanero. I didn't like habaneros. In fact, I actually disliked them for quite a while. And which is interesting because I really like the Scotch Bonnet. Scotch Bonnet has always been one of my favorites. And that was the more hotter pepper that I kind of gravitated towards. Used half the bottle. Just saucing up these wings. It does seem like they pulled the fruit forward a lot more and the sweetness. Still a tad bitter. It's still obviously very astringent. Definitely a good sense of the habanero flavor. And as someone who is not overly fond of habanero or Tabasco, they have, this is kind of this is way better than I remember it. It's not, I remember it as being hotter though. There's a certain degree of heat to it, but it's fairly minimal. It's a solid one. It really, it shifts a lot though. Like some bites I'll have that are way sweeter than others. But I mean, for a lot of us, you know, I mentioned gateway stuff like the Ortega taco sauce, La Victoria. But for a lot of us, myself included, Tabasco was the very first like hot sauce that most of us ever had. Like an actual hot sauce, not a taco sauce. I didn't like it. I've never been a fan of Tabasco as a flavor. I do like mixing it with ketchup. Having on like hash browns or something for breakfast foods at a restaurant. But like, I don't keep a bottle of Tabasco at hand. I never have. I don't think I've ever bought, other than Chipotle, and I think the jalapeno one time. Like regular Tabasco, I don't think I've ever bought a bottle of that. This one, obviously. Scorpion, Chipotle a few times. And jalapeno, like I said, but maybe once or twice. I think there's some other styles I was considering, but I don't think I ever got around to. Let's see. This reading is really salty. I wonder why. There's not like a great amount of salt in it. It might be the wings. It's such a strange decision to me that They tried to play with fruit. It was a really weird tropical vibe from the mangoes and bananas. I don't know why they did that. Bananas, I think, are really, really hit or miss in sauces generally. Bananas are not a fruit I love. I don't really have them a lot. Well, it is better than I remembered it. Here I am again, damning it with faint praise. You know, and that was always a main complaint of the chili heads that I knew, where they would say, it isn't hot. Tabasco is not hot. And that's right, it's not. It is just a Tabasco pepper flavored vinegar, I guess, in some respects. A little bit of salt. This one, it's not like satisfying. Like I gave it a 1. I think a 1 is about right. It is it is definitely a departure for Tabasco, but it's not. I wasn't sure I was ever going to have it again, and I saw it while I was in a store, and I was a lot of times, you know, National Hot Sauce Day will fall on a day where I already have something else planned, you know, just depending on what day it is. This year I decided I really wanted to try to do something for it. I have in other years here and there as well, but this seemed a really good time to dig back into the archives and to sort of focus in on that a little bit more. So that was really kind of my motivation there. As far as this one goes, yeah, it's a departure. It is like it's a 1 for heat. It is hotter than everything in their lineup except for the Scorpion. I don't love the flavor of this. Like, I'll finish this, but I don't foresee me ever getting it again, which is kind of the impression I had from it before as well. It's like, it's not awful or anything like that. It almost feels like a sand on my tongue a little bit. So it does read a little bit salty to me. It's got more fruitiness than I remember last time. It does have some bitter to it as well. So I think it has its place if you like Tabasco in particular, but I think most of us, when we get to a certain chili head stage, we really start looking around for more boutique stuff. And this, as far as a mass market product, is, I mean, it's fine. You know, Tabasco has their thing down as much as possible to the science now. And so I think some of their variants are kind of interesting. And some of them really, really get away from the whole Tabasco thing. This one, I think you'd be hard-pressed if you had in a blind test to really identify that as Tabasco. But it isn't. I'm just not quite sure what they were trying to go for here, actually. I mean, it's not a good representative of a hot sauce with fruit. It does have habanero aspects to it, but not particularly forceful ones. If you want to get a sense of habanero, there are better hot sauces to get. To me, this is just, like I said, more of a stepping stone, where if you start with Tabasco and you like that and you want to just kind of increase in heat and see how it goes, this wouldn't be a bad one to pick up. But with a lot of their other sauces too, I sometimes get a little puzzled as to what their intent is. And this one came out, I think, during one of the last surges. We go through chili surges where companies will be really, really, really interested in putting out a product that's at least marketed on the hotter side of things. I think that's kind of the case here with this. They didn't have a lot of sauces in their lineup for quite a long time. It was just Tabasco. And then they added the jalapeno, and then they added some of the other variants after that. This one's been around for a while, though. Like I said, I reviewed it quite some time ago. And, but where I see a lot of the grocers, like I had to go to a specialty store to even find this. A lot of the mainstream grocers used to have it on their shelf, and I'm guessing it was probably a dust collector. But I'm kind of thinking that's what Tabasco wanted to do. They wanted to have a product that had a habanero in it, so at least they could try to go after some of the, during one of the last waves, well, one of the last waves over the last decade, to try to go after some of the chili head market is my guess, but I don't recall when this came out, so I could be off base on that. But as it is, I think for me it's more a point of curiosity, and I suspect it might be for a lot of other people as well. But having it in the 2-ounce bottle, I do appreciate, so I'm going to have to try to work my way through an entire large bottle of it. But like I said, they definitely, there's no discounting what Tabasco has meant to both the hot sauce world and the chili head world, and the same, probably to a greater extent, applies to the habanero peppers. So on this hot sauce, National Hot Sauce Day, then it's only right, I think, and fitting that we try to give them at least some of their propers, and we'll just leave it there. So that was the McIlhenny Tabasco Habanero hot sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.